In 550 before Common Era, Cyrus the Great defeated the Medes, igniting the rise of the Persian Empire, history's first great imperial colossus. Born not of gradual ascent but of explosive conquest, Cyrus's mounted legions swept from Greece to Makran, forging an empire that would outlast all others. For 2 centuries Persia ruled unchallenged, its glory etched by kings like Darius and Xerxes, until Darius III faced Alexander the Great. Persia fell, ushering in Greek Seleucid rule, then Parthian dominion for 4 centuries. In 226 Common Era, a vassal king, Ardshir of Fars, shattered Parthian supremacy at Hormuz. Thus began the Sasanian Empire. Ardshir matched Cyrus's ambition, invading India, subduing Khorasan and humbling Rome. His successors, Shapur I, who captured Emperor Valerian, Shapur II, the Shoulders Man, famed for brutalizing Arab rebels, and Bahram Ghor, the Elephant Slayer, cemented Persia's might. But the empire's zenith came under Anushirwan the Just. In his 48-year reign, he reclaimed Syria from Rome, crushed Turks and Abyssinians, and raided Ceylon. A philosopher king, he read Aristotle, founded Jundasabur University and declared, "Sovereignty rests on the army on taxes, taxes on agriculture, agriculture on justice, and all on the king's mastery of self." Yet after Anushirwan's death in 579 Common Era, decay set in. His grandson Parwez briefly restored glory, retaking Syria and Egypt, only to lose it all to Rome's Heraclius by 628 Common Era. Parwez's son, Shiruya, blinded and murdered his father, then slaughtered 15 to 18 royal kinsmen. Chaos followed, 8 rulers in 6 years, including Queens Buran and Azarmedukt. When Buran was crowned, Prophet Muhammad remarked, "A nation entrusting its affairs to a woman shall not prosper." General Rustam emerged as the true power, a brilliant strategist who confessed his drive was the love of glory. By 634 Common Era, the 21-year-old Yazdjurd ascended the throne. Persia's military remained formidable, soldiers clad in mail, wielding maces and bows, led by generals in diamond-studded caps, but the empire bled from within. Meanwhile, on Persia's fringes, the Arab chief Muthanna bin Haritha saw opportunity. Raiding Iraq's borderlands during Persia's political chaos, he dazzled desert tribes with plunder. In early 633 Common Era, he urged Caliph Abu Bakr, "Appoint me commander, let me raid Persia and shield our lands." Abu Bakr agreed, but then appointed Khalid bin al-Walid, Islam's sword of Allah, to lead the invasion. Khalid's orders were clear. Start at Ubala. Your objective is Hira. Khalid marched from Yamama with 18,000 veterans. He warned Persia's governor Hormuz, "Submit to Islam, pay jizya for protection, or face a people who love death as you love life." Hormuz marched to intercept Khalid at Kazima, but Khalid outmaneuvered him, bypassing Kazima to threaten Ubala via Hufeir. Forced into a grueling countermarch, Hormuz's exhausted army faced Khalid at the Battle of Chains. Hormuz fell in single combat, his army shattered. Persia scrambled. General Karin reinforced Hormuz, only to meet Khalid at the Battle of the River. 30,000 Persians perished. Karin died. At Walaja, Khalid executed a masterful double envelopment, annihilating Andarzagh's forces. Then came Ulis, a bloodbath so fierce Khalid later said, "I broke 9 swords at Muta, but never met foes like Ulis." After victory he kept a grim vow. Captured enemies were beheaded for 2 days, turning a river red. Hira, capital of the Lakhmid dynasty, fell next. Its Arab king, Iyas bin Qubaysa, surrendered after token resistance, accepting generous terms, pay jizya, provide guides. Khalid then secured Anbar, Ainut Tama, and rescued Muslim forces at Daumatul Jandal. But Persia struck back. With Khalid campaigning west, 2 Persian armies and Arab allies massed at Hushid, Kanafiz, Muzaya, and Zumail. Khalid raced 500 miles in 4 weeks, crushing each force. His final act in Iraq was the Battle of Firaz on January 21st, 634 Common Era, where he routed a combined Persian-Roman army. Then came Abu Bakr's summons: march to Syria. Leave half your army with Muthanna, command the Muslims against Rome. Khalid departed, entrusting Iraq to Muthanna. The leopard would now guard the jewel, against an empire stirring from its slumber. In June 634 Common Era, Khalid bin al-Walid departed Hira for Syria with 9,000 men, leaving Muthanna bin Haritha in command of Iraq's defence. At Quraqiyah, the two warriors parted, Khalid crossing the desert toward destiny, Muthanna returning to face a wounded Persian lion with only 9,000 troops. Khalid's farewell echoed, "Return to your command, may Allah bless you, and raid as you please." Neither knew it was their last meeting. Muthanna, now sole commander, faced a dire calculus. Khalid had secured the Euphrates from Anbar to Samawa, but abandoned Ubala. Persian garrisons lurked east of the Tigris, awaiting revenge. Passive defence meant annihilation. Muthanna chose audacity. He intensified raids near Ctesiphon, Anbar and Kaskar, a leopard harrying an elephant, wondering when it would strike back. The Persians rejoiced at Khalid's exit. Emperor Farrukhzad, crowned after Firoz, whose reign ended when a crown too tight cost him his life, sneered at the Arabs, "I send swineherds and henkeepers to crush you." Muthanna shot back, "Either you are an oppressor, evil for you, good for us, or a liar, most horrible in Allah's sight." Farrukhzad's arrogance ignited fury in Ctesiphon. A 10,000-strong Persian force marched under Hormuz, not the governor slain by Khalid, reinforced by a war elephant. Muthanna raced to Babylon, crossed the Surat River and anchored his left flank to the Euphrates. When Hormuz arrived, he deployed the elephant centre stage. The Battle of Babylon erupted, a savage clash where Muslim javelins blinded the beast. Enraged, it stampeded through Persian ranks. Muthanna pressed the advantage, shattering Hormuz's army. The Persians retreated orderly to Ctesiphon, but the message was clear: Muthanna was no less a foe. Behind Persian walls, chaos unfolded. Months earlier, Empress Azarmidukht, daughter of Parwez, had lured the satrap Farrukh Hormuz to a fatal rendezvous, promising love but delivering death. His son, a battle-hardened general, stormed Ctesiphon, blinded Azarmidukht, and seized power. This general, Rustam, now ruled as the empire's shadow king. An astrologer who confessed his motive was the love of glory. Farrukhzad's defeat at Babylon proved his undoing. Ctesiphon's streets boiled with rage at his hubris. The emperor was slain, and Rustam's men scoured the empire for royal blood. They found 21-year-old Yazdjud, grandson of Parwez, in obscurity at Istaka. Crowned in 13 Hijri, 634 Common Era, Yazdjud embodied Persia's last hope. Rustam remained commander, but the young emperor's vigour promised balance. Persia's military machine remained formidable. Its soldiers wore mail coats, metal helmets, and greaves. They carried swords, axes, iron maces, and composite bows with 30 arrows. Generals like Bahman, Zul-Hajib, eyebrows, wore caps studded with gems, signifying rank. 100,000 dirham cap marked the elite. Muthanna knew Persia's resources dwarfed his own. The elephant was healing. In August 634 Common Era, he rode to Medina, wounded but unbroken, to seek Caliph Umar's aid. The leopard needed sharper claws. Muthanna arrived in Medina to find Caliph Abu Bakr on his deathbed. With fading strength, the Caliph summoned Umar, his successor. "Exhort the people to go with Muthanna, before nightfall if I die today." Abu Bakr died that night. By dawn, Umar, now Caliph, stood in the mosque, urging warriors to defend Iraq. Twice silence answered him. Fear of Persia's might froze Arab hearts. On the third day, Muthanna broke the silence. "Iraq's wealth awaits the brave," Umar echoed, invoking Allah's promise of victory. Then Abu Ubaid bin Masud of Saqif rose. "Labaik, I answer your call." Hundreds followed, including veterans of Badr. Umar appointed Abu Ubaid commander, overruling protests that non-companions shouldn't lead immigrants or ansars. "Keenness in jihad, not lineage, commands," he declared, assigning 2 Battle of Badr veterans, Saʿd bin Ubaid and Salit bin Qais, as advisors. "War rewards patience, not haste," Umar warned Abu Ubaid. In Persia, Rustam executed a master plan: reignite Arab revolts, and launch 3 armies, Nasr to Kaskar, Jaban toward Hira, Jalinus in reserve, to drain Muslim strength before Bahman's knockout blow. Muthanna, reading the moves, withdrew behind the Euphrates, luring Persians toward the desert. Abu Ubaid marched from Medina, swelling his force to 12,000 with tribal recruits. At Qafan, he joined Muthanna and immediately attacked Jaban at Namarik. The Persians broke, Jaban was captured but tricked his guard into release. Abu Ubaid upheld the guard's oath. A Muslim's promise is sacred. Then came Abu Ubaid's fatal haste. Ignoring exhaustion, he raced 150 miles to Sakatia, crushed Nasser, sacked the city, and wheeled back, only to face Jalinus at Bagsiasa. Another victory, but Umar's warning arrived. Beware Persia's land of trickery and oppression. Abu Ubaid dismissed it, reoccupying Hira. Rustam's trap snapped shut. Bahman marched with elephants and the empire's sacred standard, Dirafshi Khayan. At Kus Natif, he offered Abu Ubaid a choice. Cross to us, or we cross to you. Against furious protests, Muthanna warned, do not cut your escape. Abu Ubaid chose martyrdom. His wife's dream foretold his death. He named a chain of successors from his clan. On November 28th, 634 Common Era, Ramadan 30, 13 Hijri, Muslims crossed the boat bridge. Persian elephants loomed, palm trees lashed to their backs, bells clanging. Arab horses panicked. Abu Ubaid ordered cavalry to dismount. He charged the white elephant, blinding it, cutting its girth, but the beast crushed him. 6 clan successors fell in minutes, brother al-Hakam, son Jabir, then 4 more. Chaos erupted. As Muslims retreated, Abdullah bin Masad severed the bridge, shouting, "Fight or die!" Muthanna took command, shielding the broken army. "Cross calmly. I hold this post until the last of you." He repulsed Persian assaults, rebuilt the bridge, and crossed last, spear wound in his face. Only 3,000 survivors reached the West Bank. 4,000 lay dead. Umar wept in Medina. Had Abu Ubaid not crossed, may Allah bless him. To fugitives, he offered refuge. "I am your sanctuary." Muthanna, bleeding at Ulais, received Umar's order. "Hold your post, help comes." The leopard, wounded but unbowed, waited. Bleeding but unbroken, Muthanna bin Haritha held his post at Ulais. No complaint passed his lips, though bitterness festered. Twice, command of Iraq's front had been denied him. First by Abu Bakr, who chose Khalid, then by Umar, who sent the inexperienced Abu Ubaid to disaster at the bridge. Yet loyalty prevailed. Muthanna accepted each decision, for Khalid's genius deserved respect, and Abu Ubaid's fall demanded redemption. Now, abandoned in the ruins of defeat, Umar's order echoed, "Hold your ground." If Muthanna were Quraysh or a companion of the Prophet, fate might have favoured him, but he was Bani Bakr, a distant tribe. So, in grim silence, he nursed his wounds and watched the Persian lion stir. Fate soon offered prey. Bahman, victor of the bridge, had raced to Ctesiphon to crush a revolt against Rustam. Among the rebels was Jaban, a Persian general who'd fought Khalid and survived Abu Ubaid. When order restored, Jaban fled toward Ulais. Muthanna learned of his approach. Leaving Asim bin Amr in charge of the camp, he took a handful of warriors and ambushed Jaban's party. All Persians died, including Jaban. The old campaigner's spirit revived. January 635 Common Era, Zulqa'dah 13 Hijri, marked this small but vital triumph. Then, hope arrived. Umar's promised reinforcements trickled in, tribal contingents from across Arabia, the largest, Jarir bin Abdullah's Bajila clan. But Jarir resisted. "Send us to Syria," he pleaded. Umar refused. "The Muslims in Syria are atop their enemies. Iraq needs you." Only when offered a quarter of the state's booty share did Jarir relent. As he departed, Umar warned, "Never cross a river except after victory." Other chiefs joined, Afaya of Azd, Adi bin Hatim of Tay, a giant whose feet touched ground when mounted. By April 635 Common Era, Safar 14 Hijri, Muthanna's force swelled to 8,000. He advanced to Nakela, west of the Euphrates. Opposite him, Persian General Mihran camped with 12,000 men and 3 elephants. Mihran sent a taunt, "Cross to us, or we cross to you." Muthanna's reply was ice, "You cross." He remembered Abu Ubaid's fatal choice. The wounds of the bridge ran deep, physical and spiritual. Another defeat would shatter Muslim hopes in Iraq forever. This battle would decide Islam's fate west of the Tigris. Muthanna turned to a local Arab. "What is Mihran's camp called?" "Basusia." Muthanna smiled darkly. "He camps at a place yielding nothing. A pun on Bassus, a she-camel refusing milk. The Persians built a bridge. At dawn, they crossed and formed ranks at Shumia. Mihran arrayed his army in 3 divisions, each with an elephant. He would emulate Bahman, Muthanna countered. He placed Adi bin Hatim on the right wing, Jarir bin Abdullah on the left. His brother Masood led the infantry centre. Another brother, Mu'anna, commanded the reserve. Mounted on his battle steed Shamus, the refractory one, Muthanna took position in the centre. As lines formed, a Muslim stepped ahead of the ranks, a survivor of the bridge seeking martyrdom. Muthanna gently nudged him back with his lance. "To your place, brother." The clash began. Muthanna ordered a full assault. Reserve held back. Steel met steel. The Persian line held firm, fueled by past glory. Slowly they pushed the Muslims back. Dust clouds swallowed the field. Battle cries thundered like storms. Muthanna galloped along the buckling front, rallying men. "To me, I am Muthanna." Desperate, he tore at his beard. A lull came. Both sides regrouped. Jarir spurred his tribe. O Bajila, fight for one of 2 glories, victory or paradise. The Muslims attacked again. In the ferocity, Masood fell mortally wounded. Muthanna roared, "This is how the best of you die. Raise your standard. May Allah raise you." He unleashed the reserve under Mu'anna. Fresh troops shattered the Persian centre. Mihran charged forward to stem the retreat, and died. Accounts varied. A Christian youth of Tagilb, Jarir, Muthanna himself. Allah knows best. Panic seized the Persians. Muthanna lunged for the bridge to cut their escape. Persian warriors fought savagely to hold it, but failed. The bridge captured, Muslims butchered the trapped army. Pursuit lasted till nightfall and the next day. The plain of Buwaib whitened with Persian bones for 2 decades. Victory brought spoils, herds of sheep and cattle. Muthanna sent them to camp under Christian Arab Prince Abdul Masih. As he approached, Muslim women, mistaking him for a raider, armed themselves with stones and tent poles. Abdul Masih marvelled, so should the women of this army be. Muthanna struck again. He recrossed the Euphrates, unleashing cavalry across the Suad. Asim raided Sabat. Jarir stormed the Tigris to Kaskar. Muthanna sacked Anbar, Baghdad and Tikrit. Booty overflowed. Only gold and silver could be carried. At Buwaib's aftermath, Muthanna reflected, "I fought Arabs and Persians in ignorance and in Islam. By Allah, in ignorance, 100 Persians outweighed 1,000 Arabs. Today, 100 Arabs outweigh 1,000 Persians. This was no racial triumph. It was Islam's victory over an empire of unbelief. Yet the south languished." While Muthanna dominated the central Suad, Persian troops reoccupied Ubala. Only Qutbah bin Qatada held the line with a few hundred men. Umar acted. He sent Shari bin Amr to reinforce Qutbah, ordering raids into Persia's heartland. Shari advanced toward Awaz but died at Daris, ambushed by a Persian garrison. After Buwaib, Qutbah wrote to Umar, "Send large reinforcements. Let me strike harder." Umar summoned Utbah bin Ghazwan, an early companion. His orders were stark. "Go to Ubala. Occupy the Persians of Ahwaz, Fars and Maysan, so they cannot aid their brothers in Suad against ours. Fight with faith. Be just. Pray on time." Utbah marched from Medina with 2,000 men. By June 635, Common Era, Rabiul Akhir, 14 Hijri, he absorbed Qutbah's force and waited. 4 Persian districts now lay in Muslim sights: Furat, Abakubaz, Dast Maysan, Maysar. Control them, and Persian supply lines from Fars would choke. The governor of Furat struck first. With 4,000 men, he marched to crush Utbah's camp near ancient Basra's ruins. He brought ropes to drag Arabs like cattle. Instead, he found Utbah's equal force waiting. Persians broke, their governor captured. The next day, Muslims stormed Ubala. No resistance. The city fell, for the second time since Muslim invasions began. Utbah crossed the Tigris. Furat yielded. Dast Maysan fell. Abakubaz bowed. When Abakubaz rebelled under Filhan, Utbah sent Mughira bin Shuba. Filhan died at Margab. Revolt in Maysan followed. Mughira crushed it too. By October 635 Common Era, Ramadan 14 Hijri, 4 districts were Muslim. Persian supplies slowed, but the lifeline to Ctesiphon held. Then Utbah left for Medina and died en route. Umar appointed Mughira commander. A gifted soldier, his story would unfold. But north, a storm gathered. The Suad's people shifted loyalty again, like wives with 2 husbands. Persia's pride would not endure Muslim occupation. Yazjud and Rustam prepared a titanic blow. Muthanna, watching from Zucar, wrote to Umar, "The Persians gather an army like none seen in a century." The leopard of Bani Bakr would face his greatest test, and Islam's fate in Iraq hung in the balance. By late 635 Common Era, Caliph Umar faced a perilous calculus. Iraq bled instability. 4 times Muslim armies surged into the Suwad. 3 times Persian tides threw them back. The people of the land shifted loyalties like sand, a wife with 2 husbands. Now Emperor Yazjud, guided by master strategists Rustam and Bahman, marshalled a force unseen in a century. Titans of war stirred, demons of Persia awakening. Muthanna read the signs. Prudently he withdrew his forces from the Suwad to Sharaf, a desert outpost on Arabia's northern edge. Hira fell, Najaf fell. Persian banners reclaimed the West Euphrates. From Sharaf, Muthanna wrote to Umar, "The storm gathers, prepare." Umar acted. Syria still blazed, the Romans undefeated at Yarmouk, but Iraq's danger threatened Arabia itself. "Disperse your army at the desert fringe," he ordered Muthanna. The leopard obeyed, deploying warriors from Samawa to Ubala's hills. Yet Umar knew, small armies were obsolete. Iraq demanded a juggernaut. A solution emerged. Years earlier, Abu Bakr had barred apostates from holy war. Now, Umar rescinded it. Necessity dictated, loyal tribes were too few to fight 2 empires. Thousands of ex-apostates, now devout Muslims, flocked to Syria's front. Their leaders, once rebels, became celebrated officers. In early Zulhaj, 14 Hijri, March 636 Common Era, Umar issued a thunderous call. "Leave none with weapons, horses, strength or wisdom. Send them all to me. Hurry." Tribes answered. Medina's first contingent camped at Sirar, 3 miles east. Umar joined them, standing before Uthman, Zubayr, Talha and Abdurrahman, venerated companions all. "Should I lead you?" he asked. The army roared, "Go, and we go with you." Doubt lingered. Umar consulted Ali. "Father of Hassan, go or send another." "Go yourself," urged Ali. "Your presence breaks enemy hearts." But in council, Abdurrahman warned, "If you fall, Islam falls. Send a lion, Saʿd ibn Abi Waqqas." Talha agreed. Others nodded. Umar hesitated. "Is Saad a strategist?" "He is courage," Abdurrahman replied. "A Badr veteran. He obeys you utterly." Uthman added, "Let him seek wise counsel in war." Saad, stocky, thick-haired, an archer of renown, was summoned. Umar charged him, "You face a fearful mission. Only truth prevails." This was the man whom Prophet Muhammad honoured. "I sacrifice my father and mother for you." The 6th male convert to Islam, the first Muslim to draw blood for Allah, first wounded in battle, one of al-Ashara al-Mubashara, the 10 promised paradise. In Rabiul Awwal, 15 Hijri, April 636 Common Era, Saad marched from Sirar with 4,000 men. Umar's parting orders: stop at Zarud, recruit every brave soul, let the desert swell your ranks. At Zarud, 60 miles beyond Faid, Saad paused. Couriers raced through northern Arabia. Tribes answered, 7,000 warriors of Bani Asad and Bani Tamim, including the formidable ex-apostate Tulayha. Umar sent another 4,000. Saad's force now numbered 15,000. 3 months passed. Saad waited. Muthanna waited at Sharaf. Neither moved, until Saad marched east in Jamadiul Akhir, July 636 Common Era. But destiny intervened. Before Saad arrived, Muthanna bin Haritha, the indomitable leopard of Bani Bakr, succumbed to wounds from the bridge. Unheralded in life, unsung in victory, unlamented in death by a nation blind to outsiders. Saad prayed for his soul. That was all. Muthanna's brother Mu'anna greeted Saad at Sharaf, delivering the hero's last counsel. Fight Persians on the desert's edge, not deep in their homeland. Win, and all beyond is yours. Lose, and retreat where you rule the roots. He added, battle between Qadisiyah and Uzaib. Then he gave Saad Muthanna's widow, Salma, bequeathed by custom. Saad married her after her widow's weight. Muthanna's 12,000 veterans joined Saad. The army swelled to 27,000. Umar wrote, organize them into tens, appoint commanders, gather at Qadisiyah, summon Mughira from Ubala. Mughira bin Shuba arrived with 800 cavalry. Corps formed, Adi bin Hatim led Bani Bakr, Asim bin Amr took Tay. Tribal chiefs knew their men. Umar's strategy crystallized in a second letter. March toward Persia, but never fight them concentrated in their heartland. Let them come to you at Qadisiyah. They cannot endure your presence. If you stand fast, victory follows. If not, the desert is your shield. Wait, Allah decides. For 2 months Saʿd held at Sharaf. Beyond the horizon, history turned. At Yarmouk, Khalid and Abu Ubaidah shattered 150,000 Romans. In August 636 Common Era, Rajab, 15 Hijri. Syria's back broken, Umar shifted forces. Abu Ubaidah sent 1,700 Yemeni and Hadrami veterans, ex-apostates under Ashas bin Qais, to Saʿd. They would arrive at Qadisiyah a month before battle. Finally, Umar's order came: move to Uzayb al-Hijanat and Uzayb al-Qawadis. Saʿd advanced like a dagger thrust. Zura bin al-Hawiyah's vanguard secured Uzayb, killed a Persian scout, and crossed Sabur's trench. The main body occupied Qadisiyah. Zura raced ahead, seizing the Atik River's west bank from Qudais to the bridge. A raid north of Hira yielded fortune. Zura's men captured Azazbeh's daughter en route to her wedding. 30 noble maids, 100 slaves, rich dowry. Saʿd distributed the spoils. The army rejoiced, an omen of favour. Saʿd wrote to Umar, "No Persian commander opposes us yet." The Caliph replied, "Steadfastness, caution, grave is your task, write daily." Soon, grim news. Su'ad's people broke covenants with Islam, fearing Persia. Spies confirmed Rustam commanded the enemy. Umar's final instructions were fire and ice. Remain at Qadisiyah until Allah fixes your enemy. If victorious, drive to Madain. May Allah destroy it. Keep all promises, even to those who misunderstand you. Treachery is weakness. Faithfulness is strength. Supplies dwindled. Saʿd unleashed his raiders. Muthanna and Asim crossed the Euphrates, striking Anbar to Kaskar. Herds of sheep, cattle, gold, silver flooded Muslim camps. The Su'ad echoed with Allahu Akbar and desperate pleas to Ctesiphon. Then, Umar's mandate: send envoys to Yazjud, offer Islam. Saʿd chose 12, nobles like Noman bin Muqarrin, Muthanna, Asim, Mughira. No single leader, desert equality reigned. They rode bareback into Persia's glory, armed with truth toward an empire's twilight. 12 Arab envoys approached Ctesiphon, bareback on shaggy horses clad in coarse wool. To Persian eyes they were relics of desert squalor. But these men carried a thunderclap, Islam's final ultimatum. At the palace gates they dismounted, tied their steeds and demanded audience with Emperor Yazjud. A crowd gathered, staring at these stern-faced sons of sand. Yazjud convened his nobles. "What compels you to invade us?" he demanded when the Muslims stood before his throne. Numan bin Muqarrin spoke for all. "Allah sent a prophet to guide us from evil to good. We call you to this faith, which glorifies good and condemns evil. Accept Islam, and we leave you your land. Pay the jizya, and we defend you. Refuse both, and war begins." The emperor masked his fury. "No people are wretcheder than you. We protected you. Leave, and we shall send you grain, clothe you, appoint you a king." Mughira bin Zurara countered, "You judge without knowledge. Once we ate beetles and scorpions. We buried daughters alive. Then Allah sent his prophet, noblest in birth, family and faith. He brought truth. We bear witness." He detailed Islam's message: liberation from worshipping man to worshipping Allah, brotherhood of all humanity. Yazjud's composure shattered. "Is this how you address me?" "You spoke to me. I answer," Mughira replied. The emperor roared, "But for the law-shielding envoys I'd kill you, bring dust." A basket of Persian earth was placed before the Muslims. "Load this on your leader's head." Silence. Then Asim bin Amr stepped forward. "I am their leader." He bore the basket on his neck as they departed. Yazjud's final threat echoed. "Rustam will destroy you at Qadisiyah's trench. He'll teach a lesson never forgotten." Outside the palace, the envoys mounted their horses. Hearts burst with joy. To Muslims, earth was sacred, a sign Allah had given them Persia's land. Asim galloped through Saad's camp shouting, "Rejoice! Allah grants us their kingdom's keys." In Ctesiphon, Rustam heard of the incident. Horrified, he confronted Yazjud. "Why give them earth? The wisest among them carried it. Why? mused the emperor. Because he was the wisest, Rustam lamented. They've taken your land. He sent horsemen to retrieve the basket, but swift Arabian horses outran Persian chargers. The envoys crossed the Atik unscathed. Said intensified the pressure. Muslim raiders swept the Suwad, striking Heat, Firaz, even the Byzantine border. Flocks, silver and mules flooded the camp. Persian estates bled. Desperate delegations stormed Ctesiphon. The Arabs devastate the land. Only walled towns are safe. Send help, or we pledge allegiance to them. Yazjud summoned Rustam. You see our suffering. Lead the army. Rustam resisted. Patience is better than haste. Send smaller armies to wear them down. He painted an allegory. We are eagles. They are birds stealing scraps. If we strike too soon, they fly. Yazjud rejected it. I'll march myself if you refuse. Rustam's dread deepened. Stars foretold Persian defeat. He dreamed of Caliph Umar sealing his warriors' weapons, an omen of doom, yet duty called. He dispatched Jalinus with an advance guard. Do not engage without orders. Then he wrote Yazjud, if Allah grants victory, we'll invade Arabia. The Persian juggernaut rolled toward Qadisiyah. 60,000 men, Persians, Turks, Kurds, Armenians, with 33 war elephants. At Kusa, Jalinus veered toward Najaf. Rustam camped at Burs. Drunken soldiers rioted there, raping, looting. Rustam beheaded the offenders, restoring discipline. At Miltat, on the Euphrates east bank, Rustam faced the nobles of Hira, who'd shifted loyalties between Persians and Muslims. Their spokesman, Prince Abdul Masih, hoary with wisdom, challenged him. Do not come to us a second time if you cannot defend us. Rustam accused them of aiding Arabs. Abdul Masih retorted, Your friends fled. We fed invaders to save our homes. We are slaves to whoever conquers us. Rustam conceded, He speaks truth. Jalinus pushed to Carrara, a stone's throw from Qadisiyah. Rustam crossed to Najaf. Again, the nightmare. Umar sealing Persian weapons. Umar has eaten my heart, he swore. Cautiously Rustam advanced. Jalinus occupied Tiznabad. Bahman took Carrara. Rustam halted at Salahun. The Atik River flowed between them and Saad's camp. Rustam's gaze swept the terrain. Battle was inevitable, and the fate of empires hung on its tide. Rustam's army encamped along the Atik's east bank, facing Saad's Muslims across the water. Tension crackled. Saad struck first, sending a large foraging party to Istimia, north of Najaf. They seized flocks of sheep, but Persian cavalry intercepted them. Just as escape seemed impossible, Asim bin Amr thundered in, scattering Persians. His name alone struck fear. Enemy detachments often fled his path. Saad needed intelligence. At dusk he dispatched 2 ex-apostate officers, Amr bin Madi Karib, the one-eyed Yemeni prince, and Tulayha bin Khuwaylid, the former false prophet. Their mission? Scout Persian positions, capture prisoners. After crossing the Atik, they split. Saad then sent Qais bin Hubayra with 100 men to command both. Qais found Amr, but Tulayha vanished into the night. Near Carrara, Jalinus's advance camp, Amr proposed raiding with his small band. Qais forbade it. You risk Muslims for folly. Amr bristled. Who are you to command me? By Saad's order, Qais replied. Amr, a king's son, raged. I'd rather renounce Islam than serve under you. Later, before Saad, Amr conceded his plan was reckless. Saad rebuked him. I value one Muslim life over killing 1,000 foes. Tulayha, alone near Carrara, ignored his men's pleas to retreat. You fear, he taunted. They deserted him, accusing, You killed a Kasha at Buzaka, traitor. Undeterred, Tulayha infiltrated the Persian camp. Under moonlight he scouted tents, then struck. At a white tent he stole a magnificent horse, cut its ropes, and collapsed it on its sleeping occupant. 2 more tents fell the same way. He didn't know he'd enraged Hazar Mards, champions each worth 1,000 men. 3 pursued him at dawn. True to Persian chivalry, they attacked singly. Tulayha sidestepped the first, spearing him through the back. The second fell identically. The third surrendered when Tulayha spared him, fulfilling Saad's order for a captive. Back at camp, Tulayha presented the prisoner. Interrogation revealed critical intelligence, Persian deployments, the Hazarmad's might, and the cousinship of Tulayha's victims. The captive embraced Islam, vowing to fight beside him. Raids intensified. Qais and Tulayha led strikes, gathering prisoners. Rustam, scouting the riverbank, noted every crossing point. At the Qadisiyah bridge, he summoned Muslim commander Zuhra bin al-Hawiyah. "We protected your ancestors. Why invade us?" Zuhra answered, "We free men from worshipping men to worshipping Allah. Accept Islam, pay jizya, or face war." "What is this faith?" pressed Rustam. "Allah is one, Muhammad his prophet. All humanity are brothers. If we accept, will you leave?" "Yes, we'd return only as traders." Rustam, unsettled, requested formal envoys. Saʿd sent 7. They chose Rabi bin Amir as speaker. At Rustam's opulent court, gilded throne, jewelled nobles, carpets strewn with silk cushions, Rabi arrived armed, mail-clad, hair in 4 antelope horn plaits, bow strung across his back. Persians gasped, "Dismount! Remove arms!" Rabi refused. He rode onto the carpet, tore cushions with his spear, and drove its point into the earth before Rustam. "Allah sends us," he declared, "to liberate mankind from man's worship to Allah's. Accept Islam, pay jizya, or fight." Rustam sought delay. Rabi gave 3 days. Muslims are one body, the lowest equals the highest. Next day, Hudayfa bin Mihsan arrived. Refusing to dismount, he offered the same terms curtly. On the 3rd day, Mughira bin Shuba entered. He shocked the court by vaulting onto Rustam's throne. Guards dragged him down. Mughira scoffed, "Arabs are equals. Your hierarchy reeks of decay." Rustam mocked Arab weapons. "Your arrows are spindles, your sword wrapped in rags." Mughira drew his blade. "It strikes steel." Rustam ranted of Persian glory, offering clothes, dates, and dirhams for Muslim withdrawal. Mughira retorted, "Allah tests nations. Your ingratitude doomed you. We offer paradise if you die fighting us, hell if we kill you." Enraged, Rustam swore, "By the sun, I'll slaughter you all tomorrow." As Mughira left, Rustam shouted, "I am an astrologer. You'll lose an eye." Mughira laughed, "I'd sacrifice the other to keep fighting infidels." A final delegation came. Rustam told parables, a fox inviting others to ruin a vineyard, a rat fattening trapped in a grain jar, a fly drowning in honey. "You Arabs entered thin, now you're fat. How will you escape?" The Muslims reiterated, "Islam, jizya, or sword." Rustam snapped, "Who crosses the river, you or us?" "You cross," they replied. Saad refused Persian use of the bridge. "Capture it, never return it." Persian engineers worked through moonlit night. At a site south of Qudais, they dammed the Atik with wood, earth and cloth, a road wide enough for elephants. Muslims watched, withdrawing a mile. By midday the crossing was complete. As Persian columns flooded the west bank, Rustam's confidence surged. "We'll break them to pieces." An officer murmured, "If God wills." Rustam spat, "Even if he does not." 60,000 men deployed in 5 corps, chains binding 15,000 noble-born Persians in the centre. 33 elephants took positions, 18 in the centre, 7 on each wing. The Dirafshikavian fluttered beside Rustam's throne. Human shouters formed a telegraph line to Ctesiphon. Stricken by agonizing boils that left him unable to sit or ride, Saʿd bin Abi Waqqas directed the battle from Uzayb's castle. Prostrate on the ramparts, he peered down at the plain where Khalid bin Urfuta stood ready to relay his shouted orders and written notes to the commanders. Below, the Muslim army deployed with grim precision. Saad himself commanded the centre, where Hamal bin Malik led the infantry. To his left stood Asim bin Amr's corps. To his right, Zuhra bin al-Hawiyah's division held ground. Shurabil bin As-Samt anchored the left wing while Abdullah bin al-Mu'tim secured the right, with Salman bin Rabi'ah's reserve force poised to surge where death's tide ran highest. 30,000 Muslims stood ready, 300 companions, 70 Barda veterans among them. Poets recited verses, commanders stirred spirits. Fight for one of 2 glories, victory or paradise. Dust shimmered in the afternoon sun. Elephants shifted, chains clanked. The day of disorder dawned. The sun climbed high over Qadisiyah on November 15th, 636, Shawwal 11, 15 Hijri. A chill morning gave way to a clear blue sky, painting the plains in soft light. Rivers and canals glittered under the zenith sun. Yet this serene beauty framed a grim spectacle. Two armies, 100,000 strong, facing annihilation. To the east, the Persians dominated the eye. War elephants draped in mail, tusks sheathed in silk, stood like armoured fortresses. Caparisoned horses stamped impatiently. Warriors in gilded armour flashed in the sun. At the centre, 15,000 noble-born soldiers stood chained together, sworn by sacred fire. Conquer or die. Above them fluttered the Dirafshakavian, Persia's jewelled standard, beside Rustam's throne. The Muslims, by contrast, seemed unremarkable. Clad in coarse cloaks, armed with simple spears and swords, they lacked splendour. Their camels were no match for elephants. Their horses, though swift, looked slight. But their strength lay deeper. Faith in Allah and an iron conviction of victory. Saad, immobilised by boils in Uzayb's castle, directed the battle from his cot. At noon, his orders echoed across the field. First takbir, Allahu Akbar. Men rushed to positions. Second takbir, weapons clenched, armour secured. Third, takbir. Champions stepped forward for single combat. Khalid bin Abdullah, Bani Asad, struck first, defeating Persian general Hormuz and taking him prisoner. On the left flank, Amr bin Madi Karib, father of the bull, wrestled a Persian officer to the ground, beheaded him, and roared, "When a Persian drops his javelin, he is useless." Moments later, he killed an archer, adding, "When a Persian loses his bow, he is useless." His men cheered, "O father of the bull, who can do as you do?" Asim bin Amr rode next. When no Persian accepted his challenge, he charged their lines. Soldiers scattered, and he seized a mule laden with honey and date cakes, a prize for his hungry troops. But Rustam seized the initiative. Persian archers loosed volleys of heavy arrows, shredding Muslim ranks. They mocked the lighter Muslim shafts. "Spindles! Spindles!" Then came the elephants. 8 beasts stormed the Muslim right flank, Jarir bin Abdullah's Bajila contingent. Horses panicked, infantry buckled, the line fractured. Saad acted swiftly. He ordered Ashaz bin Qais, Kinda tribe, and Hamil bin Malik, Bani Asad, to counterattack. They hammered the Persian flank while Tulayha, the ex-apostate, slew a Persian officer in single combat. The Bajila rallied. Rustam retaliated. He hurled reserves under Bahman at the Bani Asad and sent elephants crashing into the Muslim left. Chaos followed. Saad commanded Asim bin Amr, "Save us from the elephants." Asim's men blinded riders, slit howdah straps, and toppled towers from the beasts. On the left, Amr ordered strikes at elephant trunks. Wounded and riderless, the giants retreated, their threat neutralized. Amid the carnage, a personal drama unfolded. Saad's wife Salma, widow of the famed Muthanna, watched from the castle. Unimpressed by Saad's cot-bound command, she cried, "Oh, my Muthanna, but there is no Muthanna for the cavalry today." Saad, wounded by her words, rose and slapped her. When she challenged him, "Do you react from honour or fear?" he replied bitterly, "By Allah, none shall understand my position if you do not." She left in silence. By late afternoon, the Persian assault faltered. Saad gave the 4th takbir, the signal for full attack. Muslim cavalry surged forward. Infantry followed with javelins and swords. They pierced the Persian centre, reaching Rustam's headquarters. The general drew his sword, fighting alongside nobles to repel them. Wounded but defiant, he held his ground. As dusk fell, the Persians reformed their lines. Fighting raged in the moonlight, a swirling, deafening melee that would name this day the Day of Disorder. When the horns finally fell silent, the Bani Asad counted 500 dead. The plain lay strewn with bodies. Both sides knew this was only the beginning. Night fell on Qadisiyah. Under a bright moon, women and children emerged from Muslim camps, tending wounds, burying martyrs in Musharraq Valley. No tears, no ceremony, only resolve. The Bani Asad reclaimed their centre position, bloodied but unbroken. Across the field, Persian slaves bandaged wounds as war elephants rested, their howdahs damaged, trunks wrapped in dressings. Dawn broke on the second day, the day of succour. Its name echoed the hope thundering toward them, reinforcements from Syria. But first, duels. Tulayha clashed with Persian general Jalinus. His sword split Jalinus's helmet but spared the skull. The general fled. Elsewhere, Ilba bin Jahash, gutted and dying, dragged himself toward Persian lines, gashing verses. "I look for merit with our Lord. I was of those who fought the best." Awar bin Qutbah and Shahryar of Sijistan slew each other mid-charge. The gory ballet continued till noon, when dust clouds rose in the south. Qaqa bin Amr had arrived. Ahead of Hashim's main force, he galloped with 100 horsemen, split into groups of 10 to simulate endless reinforcements. His battle cry, Allahu Akbar, ignited the Muslim ranks. Men whispered, "He is worth an army." Qaqa wasted no time. He challenged Bahman, Eyebrows, the Persian general who fought at the bridge. Their swords flashed. Qaqa struck true. "Now I avenge Abu Ubaid." Bahman fell. Next, Birzan, Persian left commander, charged with an officer. Qaqa and a comrade killed both. Saʿd ordered a full assault. Muslim regiments surged, but Persian heavy cavalry held like iron. Horses stumbled over corpses, blades dulled on armour. At the lull, Qaqa unleashed genius. Camels were cloaked in wooden frames and cloth, distorted into monsters. Driven toward Persian cavalry, the illusion sparked terror. War horses, trained against men, elephants and steel, recoiled at these nightmares. They bolted, trampling infantry, fleeing until the Atik River halted them. Persian lines frayed. "Now," Sayyid commanded. The Muslims attacked at sunset. Qaqa and his brother Asim spearheaded the charge, carving through Persian ranks. Qaqa slew 30 men in 30 sallies. His last victim, the noble Buzurjmir. They neared Rustam's throne. Victory seemed moments away, but Rustam rallied. Sword raised, he led a counterattack that pushed the Muslims back under moonlight. The battle raged past midnight, exhausted men fighting by instinct. Amid the chaos, a phantom rider weaved through Muslim lines. Abu Mihjan, Saad's imprisoned poet-warrior, jailed for drinking. Released secretly by Saad's wife Salma, he vaulted onto Saad's piebald stallion. All night he duelled Persians, unidentified, unstoppable. Muslims gaped. Is it Hashim or the Prophet Khizr? Saad, watching from Uzaib Castle, murmured, "Were he not chained, I'd swear this is Abu Mihjan." At midnight, Abu Mihjan returned the horse, shackled himself and recited in his cell, "I am their champion on every day. On the night of Qadisiyah they did not know me." When Salma asked why Saad jailed him, he confessed, "For verses praising wine." As stars faded, Caliph Umar's gifts arrived. 4 swords for heroes, Asim, Tulayha, Hamel. 4 horses for champions, Qaqa among them. Saad, hearing murmured prayers from Muslim tents, smiled. Their voices prove their strength. As the moon set, Qaqa rode south, not to rest, but to rally the lagging Syrian reinforcements. He had a plan to break the Persian resolve at dawn. But Rustam too prepared his final gamble. War elephants would return to the field. The day of hardship loomed. Exhausted men snatched moments of sleep under the moon. Some prayed, others stared hollow-eyed at the stars. Rustam, relieved his army survived the night, ordered elephants readied for battle, their howdahs repaired, wounds dressed. If they break their ranks today, he vowed, Persia triumphs. At dawn, both armies faced a grisly plain. A mile-wide carpet of corpses stretched between them. Saad ordered hasty burials. Muslims laid in Musharraq Valley, unwashed, still bloodied. Women dug graves silently, widows burying husbands, mothers' sons. Then the elephants returned. 18 beasts towered in the Persian centre and right wing, ringed by infantry, shielded by cavalry. Their presence stunned the Muslims. Saad abandoned plans to redeploy the monster camels. No camel would charge an elephant. Rustam seized the initiative. Mid-morning, Persian archers unleashed storms of arrows. Muslim lines wavered, gaps opened. Elephants advanced, slow, deliberate. Infantry parted, unleashing the beasts on Muslim cavalry. Horses panicked. Riders struggled to control them. Trained to gore, trample, or hurl men with their trunks, the elephants sowed terror. 2 giants led the onslaught, a scabby elephant in the centre, a white one on the right. Rustam exulted. He sent cavalry to storm Uzaib Castle, hoping to capture Saad. They breached Muslim lines but were repulsed by counter-attacking horsemen. Saad, undeterred, summoned Persian converts. How do we maim these beasts? Blind the eyes, they urged, sever the trunk. Saʿd deployed his champions, Qaqa and Asim against the White Elephant, Hamal bin Malik and Rabil against the Scabby One. As they advanced, Syrian reinforcements arrived, Hashim bin Utbah with 300 men joining Qaqa's 600. Though few, their presence electrified the Muslims. Qaqa and Asim led the Bani Tamim. They swarmed the Persians guarding the White Elephant, drawing defenders aside. Then, with perfect aim, they hurled javelins into the beast's eyes. As it screamed, they severed its trunk. The blinded giant threw its riders. Qaqa cut them down. Across the field, Hamal and Rabil repeated the tactic on the Scabby Elephant. On the left flank, Amr bin Madi Karib, father of the bull, attacked the lead elephant alone. Wounded and pinned by Persians, he gasped, "If you lose me, you lose the Muslims' champion." His men charged, rescuing him. Amr remounted his horse, bleeding but defiant. Chaos erupted. Blinded elephants, blood gushing from sockets and trunks, rampaged wildly. They trampled Persian and Muslim alike, then stampeded toward the Atik River. One by one, they plunged into the water, swimming to the east bank. The Persians' greatest weapon vanished. Yet Persian resolve hardened. They reformed ranks, fighting with desperate courage. Saʿd ordered a full assault, but the lines held, an immovable object against an irresistible force. The monster camels were driven forward again, but Persian horses stood firm. Battle raged till dusk. In a macabre twist, Shaba bin al-Gama, a slight Muslim warrior, was thrown by a towering Persian. As the Persian raised his dagger, his horse shied, dragging him away by his reins. Shaba rose, killed his foe, and stripped his armour. Later he sold the spoils for 12,000 dirhams. As darkness fell, neither side yielded. The day ended as it began. With corpses thickening the field, courage stretched to its limit. They called it the Day of Hardship, but the night would bring no rest. Moonlight bathed the corpse-strewn plain as the third night of battle began, a night that would never release its grip on memory. Exhaustion vanished like mist. Men rose with frenzied resolve, swords finding new life in their hands. From Muzib's ramparts, Saʿd heard Qaqa's voice slice through the din. "We have slaughtered a nation and more, in 4s and 5s and 1s. Hope flickered, but the Persian line held like rusted iron. Chaos became the only commander. Tribes attacked without orders. Qaqa's Bani Tamim first, then Amr bin Madi Karib's Yemenis, Asher's Kinder, and Tulayha's reformed apostates. Saʿd surrendered control, whispering prayers for each reckless charge. Rustam, equally helpless, watched his empire's fate unravel under the cold stars. Midnight bled into Sunday. Steel shrieked against steel. War cries curdled into animal snarls. They named it the Night of Snarls, a soundscape of snapping bones and dying horses. Men fought boot-deep in blood, forgetting thirst, wounds, fear. Persian and Muslim alike knew surrender meant slaughter. At dawn, the battle died of exhaustion. Muslims staggered back, dazed. The Persian wall stood unbroken. Then Qaqa rallied them, his voice raw but unbroken. "Victory springs from steadfastness. Wait an hour, then strike. Defeat waits for the enemy." Saʿd seized the moment. He ordered Kinder and Bajila to shatter the Persian left, Amr to crush the right, and the centre to surge forward in a hammer blow. Qaqa struck first. His regiment tore into the Persian centre as ashes scattered a Turkish cohort. Then the desert itself rebelled. A sandstorm howled from the west, choking the field. Dust devoured the sun. Persians clawed at blinded eyes. The gale ripped Rustam's canopy from its poles, hurling it into the Atik River. Stripped of his throne, Rustam stumbled through the gloom. He crouched beside a mule laden with saddlebags, his last tether to a dying empire. In the swirling brown haze, Muslim soldier Hilal bin Ulafa slashed the mule's ropes. A saddlebag thudded onto Rustam's shoulders. The general fled toward the river, but Hilal dragged him back onto the mud and rained sword blows on his face until flesh and bone were pulp. Leaping onto the vacant throne, Hilal roared, "By the Lord of the Kaaba, I have killed Rustam!" The Persians fought on, unknowing. Their centre crumbled. Soldiers fled toward the dam where Jalinus now commanded. He formed a rearguard, shielding fugitives as they crossed. The chained nobles, 15,000 sworn to conquer or die, reached the bank. Armour and iron dragged them under. The Atik swallowed them whole. 30 Persian regiments planted their standard in the earth and sat waiting for death. Muslims advanced with eerie calm. "Come," a warrior beckoned. Persians rose, offering throats to blades. Others handed their swords to enemies, dying by their own steel. Saʿd sent Zura with 300 horsemen to hunt Jalinus. They swam the river, cornered him at the bridge, and duelled. 2 spent generals crossed swords. Zura's stroke ended Jalinus. To the north, Shurabil and Kaka scoured villages for stragglers, returning with nightfall. Silence finally fell. Only the groans of the wounded remained. Women and children emerged once more, binding Muslim injuries, granting merciless release to Persian dying. They buried 6,000 martyrs in Musharak's trenches. Persian dead lay like felled timber. 40,000 souls, including Rustam Bahman Birzan. Hilal hauled Rustam's mutilated body to Saʿd. 100 wounds scarred it. His treasures, sold for 70,000 dirhams, enriched the killer. The Dirafshikavian, Persia's jewelled tiger-skin standard, went to Zara bin al-Khattab. He sold it for a pittance, 30,000 dirhams for an empire's soul. The 4 sons of the old woman, who sent them to battle with Do Not Betray Islam, laid spoils at her feet. She smiled. "You are my only treasure." Saad wrote to Caliph Umar, "Allah gave us victory after terrible quaking. Their numbers availed nothing. We pursued them over rivers and through strongholds." Courier Saad bin Umilia raced toward Medina. 2 miles from the city, a tall man in patched robes halted him. "From where do you come?" "Iraq," gasped the rider. "Allah gave us victory. The Persians are broken." The man sprinted beside the camel, firing questions, revealing himself only when crowds cried, "Peace, O commander of the faithful." Umar clasped the courier's shoulder. "My brother, you are not to blame." Years before the dust of Qadisiyah settled, a letter had sealed Persia's fate. In 7 Hijri, the Prophet Muhammad's envoy stood before Chosro's Parwez, delivering words that would echo through history. "Accept Islam and be at peace, or bear the sin of leading your people astray." The emperor tore the scroll. When news reached Medina, the Prophet's reply was prophecy. His kingdom will be torn apart. Now, in 15 Hijri, Saʿd ibn Abi Waqqas stood amid the ashes of victory, his body ravaged by boils, his triumph shadowed by petty scorn. Jarir bin Abdullah, whose Bajila tribe had broken before Persian elephants, spat verses mocking Saad's cot-bound command. "Allah helped me in battle, while Saad sat idle in his castle." Saad's retort was swift and savage, a poem exposing the Bajila's cowardice, their salvation owed only to Kaka's men. When whispers persisted, he bared his festering wounds. Silence followed. Yet another critic emerged, sneering, "We fought and widowed women, but Saad's wife sleeps safe." Saad prayed to Allah, "If he lies, break his tongue." Days later, a Persian arrow pierced the poet's mouth, shattering his tongue. He died mute. In Medina, Caliph Umar contemplated the conquered land. Scholars painted Iraq as the earth's beating heart, where rivers converge, minds sharpen, and virtue gathers. The rabbi-turned-Muslim Kab declared, "When intelligence chose Iraq, learning followed." Saad marshalled 20,000 veterans. He split them into 5 corps, led by Zura bin al-Hawiyah at the vanguard. Mounted on captured Persian steeds, they turned toward Ctesiphon, the imperial jewel prophesied to fall. Persia scrambled. Emperor Yazdjurd's reinforcements under Nakhir Jan froze east of the Euphrates, stunned by Qadisiyah's ruin. Rustam's rival, Firzan, took command. His strategy: delay, deflect, and drown the Muslim advance in blood and rivers. First clash came at Burs. Zura's advance guard shattered Persian mayor Busbura's defence. Wounded, Busbura fled to Babylon, to die. His successor Bastam surrendered, offering bridges and secrets. Firzan waits at Babylon with Hormuzan and Miran. Mid-December 636. Saad joined Zura before Babylon's ruins. Firzan drew his line, a river fortress meant to break the invaders. The battle was brief, brutal. Persians buckled. Hormuzan fled southeast to Ahwaz. Firzan retreated north, leaving rearguards at Sura and Deir Kab. Zura gave chase. Sura fell like rotten fruit. At Deir Kab, Persian commander Nakhir Jan roared a challenge. Zuhair bin Sulaim answered, cutting him down in single combat. Jarir bin Abdullah flanked the Persians, driving them from the bridge. 10 miles from Ctesiphon at Kusa, The giant Shahryar, a camel among men, bellowed, "Only a champion deserves my blade." Zura's reply was ice. "Then meet my slave." Nail bin Jusham stepped forward. Their duel became a primal struggle. Daggers, teeth, dirt. When Shahryar pinned Nail, the Muslim sank his teeth into the Persian's thumb, crushing bone. As Shahryar recoiled, Nail plunged a dagger into his belly. In conquered Kusa, Muslims knelt where Prophet Abraham was once imprisoned. Saad prayed, "Allah's blessings upon Abraham and Muhammad." January 637. Zura reached Sabat. Its mayor, Shirzad, who'd faced Khalid's sword at Anbar, offered surrender, not steel. Firzan's masterful retreat, using every canal and rearguard, earned grim respect. Said's reply, methodical, relentless, pushed ever forward, vanguard probing, main body poised, the prize now in sight. The Persian Empire's heart now pulsed with desperation. After their shattering defeat at Qadisiyah, Emperor Yazdjurd's armies could no longer muster an offensive. Instead, they feverishly fortified Ctesiphon, the imperial capital spanning the Tigris. In Bahurasir, Ctesiphon's western district, labourers dug a massive ditch from riverbank to riverbank. Ballistas and catapults lined the walls, primed to hurl stones at invaders. This was Persia's last stand, a siege defence. As Zura's Muslim vanguard approached, Persian engines roared to life, forcing a tactical withdrawal. Scouts fanned out only to find the ditch impassable, guarded at every point. Saad arrived, encircling the city's western perimeter while holding reserves. For 2 months the siege tightened. Persian supply lines from the countryside vanished. Starvation gripped Ctesiphon's garrison and civilians. Tabari's chronicles record the unthinkable. The desperate ate cats and dogs. Said turned the land itself into a weapon. Raiding parties swept the fertile plains, seizing flocks of sheep, cattle, and thousands of Persian farmers as captives. Yet mercy tempered conquest. At the intercession of Shirzad, Sabat's mayor, now allied with the Muslims, Saad offered the prisoners freedom. Embrace Islam or pay the jizya. All chose the tax, their lives and property guaranteed. This act of restraint forged goodwill among the conquered. Only the emperor's property was confiscated. Persian ingenuity was matched. Shirzad, at Said's request, built 20 catapults for the Muslims. Stone for stone, they answered Persian artillery. The psychological blow was profound. Desert warriors now wielded the empire's trump card. Worse for Persia, concentrated troops in the city made them easy targets. Muslim volleys rained destruction. By March 637, Safar 16 Hijri, the garrison staged a final breakout. Every available soldier surged toward Zura's corps. In brutal combat, Zura took an arrow but led a countercharge, slaying the Persian commander in single combat. As their leader fell, the Persians retreated behind the ditch. A lull followed. Then a Persian emissary offered terms: divide the Tigris. Keep what you hold east, we keep the west. If your hunger remains unsated, Allah will never satisfy it. A Muslim translator, unauthorized but defiant, spat back, "No peace until honey flows from Kusa's lemons." That night the garrison fled. Bridges burned, boats vanished to the eastern bank. At dawn, a Persian defector revealed the truth. Bahurasir lay undefended. Muslim troops entered the western capital unopposed. Half of Ctesiphon was theirs. But the prize glittered across the river, the Arch of Chosroes, prophesied by Muhammad. Between Saad and victory surged the Tigris, swollen and half a mile wide. Bridges were ash, Persian boats anchored out of reach. A Persian scout whispered of a ford at Sayadin. Saad surveyed it. Currents too fierce, depths too treacherous for Arab horsemen. Doubt gnawed him. That night, a dream. Muslim cavalry plunging into churning waters, emerging on the far bank. At dawn, Saad called for volunteers. Asim bin Amr stepped forward first. 700 men rallied. Asim selected 60 for the vanguard. They tied themselves in pairs, invoking Allah's name, and urged their horses into the torrent. Persian sentries stared in disbelief. Khurazad, Rustam's brother, hungry for vengeance, roared, "This river is ours, you trespass." He ordered cavalry into the water to crush the Muslims mid-river. What followed was history's strangest naval battle. Arab and Persian horsemen clashing in the current, spears rising and falling as horses fought the swell. Asim's men, fueled by faith, overpowered the Persians. "Devils!" they cried. "We fight jinn, not men." Survivors fled. Asim secured the eastern bank. Regiment by regiment the army crossed. Saʿd himself entered the Tigris, roped to Salman the Persian, the Prophet's companion who once advised digging the trench at Medina. As they crossed, Salman declared, "Allah makes rivers submit to Muslims as land does." Miraculously, only one man drowned. Ctesiphone's eastern half lay bare. Yazdjurd had already fled to Hulwan, taking his family and treasure. Only a rearguard remained in the White Palace. Salman, speaking as a Persian kinsman, negotiated their surrender. Islam, jizya, or war. They chose the tax. Saʿd claimed the White Palace as his headquarters. In its courtyard, he led an 8-rakat prayer of victory beside statues of Persian kings, columns fanned out to hunt stragglers. At Narawan Canal, Zura sees 2 mules carrying the Persian crown, cracked from a fall, and the emperor's regalia. Quaqa recovered 11 jewelled swords and armour of kings, including blades of Persian emperors, the Kagan of Turks, and Heraclius. Another column found golden horses, a silver camel, and pavilions spilling gold plates. The treasury held 1.5 billion dirhams. Each soldier received 12,000 dirhams. Naive warriors bartered gold dishes for silver, mistook camphor for salt. Sayyid allotted royal homes to his men. Mass conversions followed. Persians embraced Islam, drawn by Salman's preaching and Muslim justice. The final trophies, the emperor's crown, court dress, and Chosro's legendary carpet, were sent to Medina. The carpet, a 30-metre square marvel of silk, gold, and gem-studded gardens, left crowds spellbound. But Caliph Umar, austere and practical, consulted Ali. "Keep it, and successors will covet it." Ali warned, "Worldly things are but food, clothes, and wages." Umar agreed. The carpet was cut apart. Ali sold his fragment for 20,000 dirhams, all distributed to the poor. The companions sought a different beauty, the dawn of justice in Persia's ashes. The remnants of Imperial Persia regrouped at Jalula, a strategic choke point 100 miles north of Ctesiphon. Here, the Diyala River carved a narrow gap between its western banks and broken highlands to the southeast. This bottleneck guarded the fertile Suwad's northern plains and the road to Persia's heartlands. If lost, Persia's breadbasket would fall. Emperor Yazdjurd, now in Hulwan, ordered total war. Mihran, veteran of Qadisiyah, took command, with Khurazad as his cavalry chief. They transformed Jalula into a fortress. A deep ditch encircled the town's southern approach. Behind it, fortifications rose. Ahead of the ditch, thousands of iron caltrops littered the ground, 4-pronged traps to cripple horses. Families and treasure were sent deeper into Persia. The troops swore by sacred fire, victory or death. Saʿd acted swiftly. In March 637, Safar 16 Hijri, he dispatched his nephew Hashim bin Utbah with 12,000 men, including the indomitable Kaka, to crush this last stand. Hashim found the Persian position impregnable. Ditches, caltrops, and disciplined archers. He encircled Jalula's southern arc. For 8 grueling months stalemate reigned. Persian reinforcements trickled in from Hulwan. Mihran launched 80 sallies. All were repulsed. Hashim attempted assaults, but could not breach the ditch. When Persian iron caltrops maimed Arab horses, the Muslims paused. Mihran savoured this small triumph, the first since Qadisiyah. By November 637, Shawwal 16th Hijri, Saʿd reinforced Hashim, first 1,000 troops, then 500 cavalry led by former apostate chiefs, Qais, Amr, and Tulayha. Their arrival unnerved the Persians. Mihran, tired of siege warfare, gambled everything. He would lure the Muslims into open battle. Hashim welcomed the shift. Deliberately he pulled his army back from the ditch, allowing the Persian space to deploy. He placed Tulayha over infantry, Amr over cavalry. On a crisp, late November dawn, Mihran's army surged across the ditch. The battle erupted. Persians, hungry to avenge Qadisiyah, hammered Muslim lines. Some units buckled. Hashim galloped along the fray, shouting, "This is the last battle." No more after this. Kaka rallied retreating soldiers. Attack. Let Allah decide. By afternoon, arrows and spears exhausted, the fight descended to swords and maces. Then divine intervention. A violent sandstorm howled from the south. Persian ranks wavered, Arabs pressed harder. Amid the chaos, Qaqa executed Hashim's masterstroke. With a picked force, he skirted the Persian flank, seized the ditch crossing, and unleashed a cry, "Muslims! Your commander holds the ditch! Advance!" The shout shattered Persian morale. Believing themselves surrounded, they faltered. Qaqa's men charged their rear as Hashim's main force attacked frontally. Trapped, the Persians fought with desperate courage, but discipline collapsed at sunset. Thousands fled toward the ditch, impaling themselves on their own caltrops or drowning in the chasm. Mihran escaped. The ditch became a graveyard. By morning, Jalula's garrison abandoned the town. Hashim's troops entered unopposed. Tabari's claim of 100,000 Persian dead was implausible. The truth was grim enough. Over half Mihran's army slain. Muslim losses went unrecorded. Spoils totaled 30 million dirhams. Each warrior received 9,000. Jalula broke Persian power in Iraq. The Su'ad's wealth now fed the Muslim empire. As Hashim returned to Ctesiphon, he sent Qaqa to pursue survivors toward Hulwan. Persia's gates hung open. Victory's aftermath revealed an unforeseen challenge. When delegates from Ctesiphon reached Medina, their pallid complexions startled Caliph Umar. "By Allah! You look unlike the men who departed Medina," he exclaimed. "What changed you?" They answered plainly, "The land's unhealthiness." A letter from Iraq confirmed the crisis. Arab soldiers grew weak, their muscles softening in Ctesiphon's damp climate. Umar's response was swift and strategic. "Find dry, open land near pasture, with no river between me and my army." Saʿd first marched his forces to Anbar, an ancient Euphrates town famed for its granaries. Yet the location proved unbearable. Sweltering heat and swarms of flies tormented the troops. Umar rejected it outright. The Arab is like the camel. He thrives only where herds graze. Salvation came through Amr bin Abdul Masih, an Iraqi prince who guided them southeast to a stretch of elevated land, dry yet well-watered, dotted with thistles. Saad named it Kufa, gravel mound, and wrote to Umar, "I have settled the army where earth and river serve us." In 638 Common Era, 17 Hijri, Kufa rose from virgin soil. Persian Muslim architect Ruzbe bin Buzurjmir designed its heart, a mosque flanked by Saad's palace. Tribes occupied demarcated sectors, while Persian converts, veterans of Qadisiyah and new believers, claimed their own quarter. When fire later consumed the wooden city, it was rebuilt in brick, becoming Islam's first planned garrison. Simultaneously, Basra emerged 300 miles south. Utbah bin Ghazwan, reoccupying the humid port of Ubala with 800 men, sought healthier ground. He led his troops into the desert near Washatabad's ruins, a Persian frontier town razed years earlier. At a pebble-strewn site, soldiers proclaimed, "This is Basra," meaning stony ground. Utbah described it to Umar as reeds beside fertile land with marsh beyond. Wooden dwellings clustered around its mosque. Under Governor Abu Musa, engineers dug canals linking Basra to the Tigris, securing its future as a strategic hub. Governing the conquered territories demanded innovation. Saad ruled from Kufa, while Basra answered to its own governor. Key administrators included Ammar bin Yasir overseeing prayers, Abdullah bin Masud managing treasury and judiciary, and Uthman bin Hanif and Hudayfa bin al-Yaman collecting land revenue west and east of the Tigris. Umar instituted a radical land policy. Conquered territories remained with original owners. "Leave the soil in their hands," he ordered Saad, "so its revenue feeds all Muslims, present and future." Only under Caliph Uthman would Muslims purchase Iraqi lands. The influx of wealth forced a financial revolution. Spoils and taxes from Syria to Iraq overflowed Medina's coffers. In late 638, 15 Hijri, Umar convened the companions. Ali urged full annual distribution. Uthman warned unrecorded wealth would vanish. Umar fiercely rejected hoarding reserves. "Satan put those words in your mouth." They established stipends, ATA, prioritizing faith and battlefield merit. Veterans of Barda received 5,000 dirhams yearly, the Prophet's widows 12,000 each, the poorest monthly grain rations. When Meccan nobles protested lesser stipends, Umar stood firm. "I rank by service to Islam, not lineage." His own son Abdullah received 3,000 dirhams, 1,000 less than Usama, son of the Prophet's freedman, because his father was dearer to Allah's messenger. A unique compromise ended tensions with the Taghlib tribe. These Christian Arabs of northwest Iraq refused the jizya, threatening to join Byzantium. Umar relented. They paid double sadaqah, voluntary alms, under another name, provided their children weren't raised Christian. The empire's bones were set. Justice, not conquest, would shape its soul. Peace in Iraq proved illusory. Even as Umar's governors built cities and systems, Persia's embers glowed hot. In Syria, Byzantine Emperor Heraclius, brooding over his losses, ignited a diversion. He coaxed Christian Arab tribes of the Jazeera to assault Emesa, hoping to draw Muslims from Iraq. Abu Ubaidah, besieged in the Syrian stronghold, sent urgent pleas to Medina. Umar's response was twofold. Saad dispatched Kaka with 4,000 Kufan veterans to Syria, while 3 columns under Ayaz bin Ghanam invaded the Jazeera from Iraq. The stratagem worked. Tribesmen abandoned Emesa to defend their homeland, only to find Ayaz's forces withdrawn by Umar's order. The caliph's restraint held, no expansion beyond Syria and Iraq yet. Kaka arrived at Emesa 2 days late, his blades unblooded. Meanwhile, in Ahwaz, Prince Hormuzan, Duke of Persia's 7 noble houses, nursed vengeance. From his capital at Souk al-Ahwaz, he launched raids into the Suad, targeting Maysan and Dast Maysan near Basra. His son Azin led one such strike, only to be beheaded by Zara bin al-Khattab near Sirwan. Undeterred, Hormuzan built forward bases at Tiri and Manazir. Utbah bin Ghazwan, Basra's governor, begged Saad for aid. Reinforcements arrived. Noman bin Muqarrin's Kufans faced Tiri. Salma bin al-Kin's Basrans advanced on Manazir. In a synchronized dawn assault, both Persian bases fell. Hormuzan retreated behind the Kharan River, his dream of reconquest crumbling. Desperate, he offered peace. Under the treaty, Awaz and Mihir Jangazaf would pay jizya while he governed. But Manazir and Tiri, already taken by Muslim swords, remained under direct rule. Utbah accepted, unaware of Hormuzan's deceit. The prince used the respite to summon Kurdish allies and rebuild his army. Far south, folly unfolded. Ullah bin al-Hadrami, governor of Bahrain, seething with envy towards Saad, defied Umar's ban on naval expeditions. He shipped 3 regiments across the Persian Gulf to invade Fars. At Tawuz, they clashed with Persians led by a high priest. The battle cost them dearly. Commanders Sawa and Jarud fell, followed by their sons. Though Khalid bin Munzir rallied the Muslims to victory, Persian flankers burned their ships. Trapped near Gub, Khalid's men faced annihilation, until Umar, furious but pragmatic, ordered Utbah to send 12,000 Basrans under Abu Sabra. The relief force scattered Shahruk's Persians, rescuing the survivors. Ullah was stripped of command and exiled to Saad's oversight, a living rebuke to ambition. Basra's leadership unravelled. Utbah travelled to Medina, protesting Saad's harshness to Umar. When the caliph dismissed his complaints, Utbah resigned, and Umar refused. On the return journey, Utbah fell from his camel and died. His deputy, the cunning Mughira bin Shuba, assumed command briefly. Accused of adultery with Jamil, 4 witnesses testified against him. At trial in Medina, the 4th witness equivocated, "I saw the act, not her face." Mughira, claiming she was his wife, walked free. The other 3 received 80 lashes. Umar's warning hung sharp. "Had evidence held, I'd have stoned you myself." Mughira was detained in Medina, and Abu Musa al-Ash'ari took Basra's reins. Hormuzan, emboldened, broke his treaty. He disputed boundaries with Salma, massed Kurdish troops, and fortified Ahwaz. Abu Musa marched. At the Kharan River, Persian arrows darkened the sky. Muslims forded upstream, clashing in a brutal, unrecorded battle. Hormuzan fled toward Ram Hormuz, pursued by Juz bin Muawiyah. The chase became a dance of evasion, rearguard skirmishes at Darak, then Arbuk. There, at a bridge, Hormuzan again offered peace. Umar, despite suspicions, accepted. Surak district passed to Muslim control. Hormuzan kept his title under tribute. The truce was parchment thin. Emperor Yazdjud's call to arms echoed from the mountains of Qum to the streets of Isfahan. Persian nobles rallied their forces, some in thousands, others in scattered bands, fueled by imperial pride and desperation. Among them marched Sia, a one-eyed general leading 300 elite knights, including 70 noblemen. His orders: strike the Muslim front at Ahwaz. but Siya would not join Hormuzan. Instead, he camped near Kalbania, north of Sus, watching, waiting. In Basra, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari pieced together Persian movements. By mid-640 Common Era, the truth was undeniable. Hormuzan had broken his treaty. Persian reinforcements flowed into Khuzestan, concentrating at Tusta and Ram Hormuz. Caliph Umar's decree was final: take Khuzestan, punish the oathbreaker. But Kufa's command was in turmoil. Saʿd ibn Abi Waqqas, accused of extravagance for building a house with a door, a luxury in Arab tradition, had been replaced. First by Ammar bin Yasir, then by the ambitious Mughira bin Shuba. To this new governor, Umar sent orders. Dispatch Noman bin Muqarrin to Ahwaz. Abu Musa mobilized Basran veterans under Sal bin Adi. Noman's Kufan force arrived first, surging toward Ram Hormuz. At Arbuk, Hormuzan's army waited on the river's east bank. A short, vicious clash followed. Defeated, Hormuzan abandoned Ram Hormuz, fleeing northwest to Tusta. He fortified the city, repairing walls, stockpiling grain, and digging a defensive ditch along its southern arc. Meanwhile, a miracle unfolded. Siya, learning of Hormuzan's defeat, sent envoys to Abu Musa. We embrace Islam, if we may fight Persians but not Arabs, settle where we wish, and receive fixed pay. Umar overruled Abu Musa's objections, accepting the terms. Siya and his 300 knights joined the Muslims. Their valour would soon tip the scales. Tusta, Shushtar to Persians, the clean place, was a marvel of engineering. Stone canals channeled the Karen River through its heart, feeding watermills and the inner citadel Salasil. Its walls seemed unassailable. When Abu Musa's combined forces surrounded the city, Hormuzan gambled on open battle. He failed. Persian troops retreated behind the ditch, sealing themselves inside. The siege dragged for months. Persian sallies met Muslim assaults. Blood soaked the earth outside Tusta's walls. Morale dwindled as famine gripped the city. Then a Persian noble named Sina slipped into Abu Musa's camp. "Spare my family," he bargained, "and I'll show you a way in." That night, warrior Ashras bin Auf followed Sina through a stone-lined sewer, emerging inside Tusta. Disguised in Persian robes, he walked the city's perimeter, even passing Hormuzan unnoticed. The path was confirmed. 40 volunteers crept through the sewer on the chosen night. Bursting into the streets with cries of Allahu Akbar, they slaughtered the gate guards and shattered its chains. As the gates swung open, 200 more Muslims poured in, holding back Persian reinforcements while the main army stormed Tusta. Street fighting turned apocalyptic. Hormuzan fought like a cornered leopard, cutting down revered companions. Bara bin Malik and Majza'a bin Sa'ar fell by his blade. Persian nobles murdered their own families rather than let them face captivity. When survivors fled to Sus, Hormuzan retreated to the Salasil citadel. At dawn, he appeared on its walls. "In my quiver, 100 arrows, you'll lose 100 men before I fall. Or, I surrender to Umar's judgment alone." Abu Musa agreed. The Lion of Ahwaz was now a prisoner. Tusta's treasures were distributed. 3,000 dirhams for cavalrymen, 1,000 for infantry. But Khuzestan's conquest was incomplete. Abu Musa turned his gaze northwest to Sus. There, Hormuzan's brother Shahryar vowed to fight on, and Emperor Yazdjurd's drumbeats grew louder in the highlands. With Tusta secured, Abu Musa turned west towards Sus, the Persians' sacred Shush, guardian of Prophet Daniel's bones. There, Shahryar, brother of the captive Hormuzan, rallied survivors from Tusta and fresh Persian troops. Walls rose, gates barred. Abu Musa's siege began. Weeks passed in grim stalemate. Persian sallies met Muslim assaults, casualties mounted on both sides. Then, a Zoroastrian priest appeared on Sus's walls shouting, "O Arabs! Sus falls only to Dajjal, Antichrist, or those who harbour him. If he is among you, conquer us. If not, leave." Abu Musa ignored the superstition. But when the priest repeated his challenge after another failed assault, doubt crept into Muslim ranks. Siya, the one-eyed Persian knight who had joined Islam, saw opportunity. "Let me break this deadlock," he urged Abu Musa. At dawn, Persian sentries spotted a bloodied officer lying near the gate, a wounded comrade abandoned overnight. As guards rushed to rescue him, the man sprang up. Siya, disguised in Persian uniform. He slaughtered the guards, seized the gate, and held it with fellow convert Khusrau against waves of defenders. Muslim troops poured through the breach. Shahryar, facing annihilation, surrendered. Abu Musa praised Siyar's valour but faced discontent. The Persian knights demanded pay equal to Arab warriors. Umar granted it. 2,500 dirhams annually for Siyar and 5 others, 2,000 for 100 more. The Caliph also ordered Daniel's remains buried secretly. 13 graves were dug, the Prophet laid in one, the rest filled with earth to thwart relic hunters. One Persian stronghold remained, Yunda Sabur. Abu Musa sent Aswad bin Rabia, nicknamed Muqtari, to besiege it. During a lull, the city gates swung open. Unarmed civilians emerged, cattle grazed, shops reopened. We accepted peace, they declared. Bewildered Muslims learned a slave, Mukanaf, had shot an arrow into the city with an unauthorized peace offer. The garrison accepted. Muqtari protested, a slave cannot negotiate terms. But the Persians retorted, we honour the word, even of your slave. Umar's response was unequivocal. Allah honours truthfulness. Fulfill the pledge. Junda Sabur surrendered. Columns then fanned out, occupying Zut, Sanbil, and Kalbania without resistance. Khuzestan was now wholly Muslim. Abu Musa dispatched Hormuzan to Medina under escort, including Uns bin Malik, brother of Majza'a, whom Hormuzan had slain. The prince arrived robed in velvet and gold, a sapphire coronet upon his head. He found Umar sleeping on a mosque floor, a coarse cloak his pillow, a whip in hand. Where is his guard? His chamberlain? Hormuzan whispered. He is not a prophet? No, came the reply. Awakened, Umar surveyed the glittering captive. Praise Allah who debased this man through Islam. He ordered Hormuzan stripped of finery. Then the interrogation began. Why break your pledge? Umar demanded. Hormuzan feigned terror. I fear you'll kill me before I speak. Assured of safety, he requested water, then refused a crude cup. Given a finer vessel, he trembled. I fear death while drinking. You're safe until you drink, Umar vowed. Hormuzan set the cup aside. I only asked to save myself by your promise. Enraged, Umar threatened execution. Uns intervened. You vowed his safety. Others upheld the oath. Reluctantly, Umar offered clemency, on one condition, accept Islam. Hormuzan converted, settling in Medina with a 2,000 dirham pension. Persia's proud lion now bowed to the faith he once fought. With Khuzestan subdued, Muslim rule stretched from Iraq's plains to the Zagros foothills. Caliph Umar gazed east, uneasy. I wish a mountain of fire stood between us and Persia, he declared, so neither could reach the other. But peace was an illusion. Emperor Yazdjurd's couriers raced to every remaining province, Azerbaijan to Khorasan to Sindh, bearing a single command, unite for war. The empire responded. Veterans and volunteers streamed toward Nihawand south of Hamadan, from Fars, Kumis, Ray and beyond. Foundries glowed day and night, forging weapons. Horses were trained, supplies stockpiled. By late 641 Common Era, 60,000 soldiers assembled under Mardanshah, the eyebrowed one. His officers rallied them. Umar seized the Suwad and Awaz. He will devour Persia unless we strike first. On the Kermanshah frontier, Muslim commander Qubaz spotted the gathering storm. His warning reached Kufa's governor, Ammar bin Yasir. If they attack before we do, their courage will multiply. The messenger to Medina was Qarib bin Zafar, near, son of victory. Umar seized the omen. Victory is near, Allah willing. In Medina's mosque, Umar addressed the people. Satan has gathered his forces to extinguish Allah's light. He read Ammar's letter aloud. Senior companions debated strategy. Uthman urged summoning troops from Syria and Yemen. Ali countered. If Syria's defenders leave, Romans will reclaim it. If Yemen's go, Ethiopians will strike. Keep armies where they stand. Umar sided with Ali. Basra would divide its forces, 1/3 guarding families, 1/3 policing treaties, 1/3 reinforcing Kufa. Then, the critical appointment, command went to Noman bin Muqarrin, the administrator of Kaskar, who once wrote to Umar, I crave battle, not tax collection. The caliph's orders reached Noman in late 641 Common Era. Go with Allah's help. Lead all Muslims to Nihawand. If you fall, Hudayfa bin al-Yaman commands, then Jarir bin Abdullah, then Mughira bin Shu'bah. Umar's warning followed. Every Muslim is dearer to me than 100,000 dinars. Reinforcements surged toward the front. Hudayfa bin al-Yaman advanced from Ctesiphon with Kufa's core forces, while Abu Musa dispatched a third of Basra's army. From Medina, Mughira bin Shu'bah led fresh troops, including the Caliph's son, Abdullah bin Umar, as irregular Arab-Persian units harried Persian supply routes east of the Zagros Mountains. Noman chose the western axis through Kermanshah. He ordered Mujasha bin Masud to block Persian incursions into Khuzestan, while Hudayfa's forces rendezvoused with him at Tazar. By December 641 Common Era, the Muslim army, 30,000 strong, stood poised at Isbizahan, 11 miles from Nihawand. Before them, the Persian host waited, chained infantry, caltrop belts, and the grim ridge of Ardashan. December's cold bit deep as Noman surveyed the Persian defences at Nihawand. Before him stretched a valley flanked by the jagged Ardashan ridge to the north and the towering Garin range to the south. Mardanshah's 60,000 warriors stood chained together in ranks, 5, 7, 10 men bound as one, behind a belt of iron caltrops designed to cripple horses. "A mountain of iron," murmured Mughira bin Shu'bah. For 2 days Muslim assaults failed. On Wednesday, then Thursday, they crossed the wadi under hails of arrows, only to founder on the caltrops and Persian spears. Casualties mounted. By Saturday, Noman convened his council. Tulayha, the former impostor, proposed deception. Feign retreat. Lure them out. Amr bin Mahdi Karib added, "Spread word Umar is dead." The plan ignited. On Thursday, whispers reached Persian lines. "The Caliph has fallen!" Jubilation erupted. By Friday, Muslim outposts vanished. Tents were struck. Mardanshah, scenting victory, ordered gaps cut in the caltrop belt. Columns advanced, 50,000 Persians forming up beyond the obstacle. Noman deployed his army. Mughira urged immediate attack, but Noman refused. The prophet delayed battle until afternoon. As Persian arrows rained down, soldiers pleaded, "Let us strike." Noman held firm. "Steady." He prayed aloud, "O Allah, cool my eyes with victory, then take me as a martyr." At midday, Noman's triple cry of Allahu Akbar shattered the stalemate. Muslims surged forward as Kaka's cavalry hammered the Persian flank. In the vicious melee, an arrow pierced Noman's side. His brothers Nuaym and Suwaid covered his body with a cloak, concealing his death, and seized the standard. By late afternoon, Persian chains became fetters. Their lines fractured. Soldiers stumbled backward, into their own caltrops. At the ravine of Waikurd, thousands fell screaming, "Waikurd, I am finished." Hudayfa bin al-Yaman, assuming command, halted pursuit at nightfall. The next morning, Persians regrouped at Darizid, a feint to cover their retreat to Nihawand. Hudayfa besieged the city. Within days, Commander Dinar surrendered unconditionally. Nuaym and Kaka chased fleeing Persians to Hamadan, where Khusraw Shanum, veteran of Qadisiyah, submitted, paying jizya. The cost was staggering. Half the Persian army, 40,000 men, lay dead. Muslim graves dotted the valley, including Noman's at Baba Pire and Amr bin Mahdi Karib's unmarked resting place near Layli Yadga. The booty was immense. Cavalry received 6,000 dirhams, infantry 2,000. A Zoroastrian priest revealed the treasure of Nakhir Jan, jewels amassed by Emperor Parwez, later sold for 2 million dirhams to fund Muslim troops. When news reached Medina, Umar wept openly for Noman. "Allah knows them," he said of the unnamed martyrs. Persia's backbone was broken. Nihawand had shattered Persia's might, but the war was unfinished. Though half the empire still stood unconquered, Caliph Umar understood the deeper truth. Persia would never accept defeat while her emperor lived. Ashraf bin Qais, a battle-hardened veteran, voiced the crux. 2 kings cannot share a land. Cut off the head, and the wings fall. The solution was stark, complete conquest. Umar acted swiftly. He lifted his embargo forbidding Muslims from owning Iraqi land, transforming his armies from transient warriors into rooted settlers. Then he summoned Hormuzan, Persia's captured general. When Umar asked where to strike next, Fars in the south, Azerbaijan in the north, or Isfahan at the heart, Hormuzan offered a lethal metaphor. Fars and Azerbaijan are wings, Isfahan is the head. Cut off a wing, the head survives. Cut off the head, the wings crumble. Umar chose the head. In late 642 CE, Abdullah bin Utban marched toward Isfahan. East of the city at Jai, his advance guard crushed a Persian detachment after fierce fighting. The city's commander, Fazusfan, proposed single combat to decide Isfahan's fate. As they clashed, Abdullah's saddle broke, hurling him to the ground. Fazusfan, admiring his foe's valour, spared him and surrendered the city. Abu Musa then swept north, seizing Kashan and Kum without resistance. By early 643 CE, Nuaym bin Muqarrin, brother of Nihawand's fallen hero Noman, advanced with 12,000 men. Hamadan, which had rebelled after Nihawand, fell again. At Wajruz, Nuaym shattered Isfandiya's Persian army, scattering survivors toward Ray and Azerbaijan. Ray itself was taken by night through cunning. Muslim soldiers infiltrated its fort, forcing surrender. Nuaym's brother Suwaid then secured Demawand, Damaghan, and Gurgan peacefully, absorbing Tabaristan into the growing caliphate. Persia was now split, north severed from south. As winter thawed, Mughira bin Shuba prepared the Azerbaijan offensive from Kufa. Hudayfa bin al-Yaman led the charge, capturing Zanjan and Ardabil. At Bab, Anushirwan's ancient Caspian fortress, Muslims breached the Great Wall built to repel Turkic hordes. When Hudayfa was replaced by Utbah bin Farkad, the momentum held. By year's end, Azerbaijan and eastern Armenia lay subdued. Only Balanjar marred the campaign, a rare defeat where Turks ambushed a Muslim corps. Simultaneously, Umar turned south. Mujashir bin Masud stormed Tawuz and besieged Saba, whose garrison surrendered within weeks. Uthman bin Abil As seized Shiraz and the scarred ruins of Persepolis, where Alexander's massacre still haunted the stones. Sariya bin Zunaym captured Darabjud, while Suhail bin Adi, reinforced by Abdullah bin Utban, subdued Kirman. Asim bin Amr conquered Seistan, legendary homeland of Rustam. Finally, Hakam bin Amr marched to Makran. There, at an unnamed river, Muslim forces clashed with Raja Rasil of Sindh, Islam's first bloody meeting with India. Victory came, but the land left Hakam's messenger desolate. O commander, a place where plains are hills, water a trickle, fruit bitter, enemies brave. Good is fleeting, evil lingers. Many feel few, helpless. Beyond lies worse. Umar's oath was swift. By Allah, no army of mine treads there. The eastward march halted. In 644 CE, Anaf bin Qais aimed for Khorasan, Persia's last province. Avoiding highways, he crossed deserts to Herat. After brutal resistance, the city fell. Detachments took Nishapur and Tus. Emperor Yazdjud fled Marv for Balkh, where Anaf crushed his Transoxianan allies. Balkh surrendered, and Marv became Islam's eastern bastion. When Anaf reported reaching the Oxus River, Umar's command echoed, "Do not cross." The caliph knew empires bled on foreign shores, yet in Medina, death stalked Umar. Abu Lulu, a Persian slave called Father of Pearl, seethed under his master Mughira's daily tax of 2 dirhams. "Umar has eaten my heart," he raged. When he begged the caliph for relief, Umar dismissed his plea, unaware the craftsman hid an assassin's rage. Days later, Rabbi Kab warned, "You have 3 days." At dawn prayers, Abu Lulu lunged from the ranks. 6 dagger strokes felled the commander of the faithful. 3 days later, Umar, architect of Persia's fall, was gone. His son Ubaidullah exacted raw vengeance, killing Abu Lulu, the slave's wife and daughter, and the Christian Jufaina. When he cornered Hormuzan, the Persian strategist who'd embraced Islam, Hormuzan cried the Shahada as the sword fell. Justice would wait. The empire mourned. Yazdjud III, last king of the House of Sasan, was born under an unlucky star. His grandfather, Emperor Parwez, had tried to drown him as an infant, warned by astrologers that a defective grandson would destroy Persia. Hidden by his grandmother Shirin, the boy grew in shadows, exiled to Seistan, concealed from royal massacres, crowned at 21 only because no other heir remained. When Khalid bin al-Walid's tempest struck Persia in 632 CE, Yazdjud faced an empire already unravelling. For 10 years he fought the inevitable. He sent armies to Qadisiyah, rallied Hormuzan in Khuzestan, and staked everything on Nihawand. Each defeat tightened the noose. After Nihawand, as Muslims carved Persia into pieces, Isfahan, Ray, Fars, Yazdjurd became a fugitive in his own land. Governors who once bowed now scorned him. At Ray, the local ruler turned insolent. At Persepolis, officials denied him treasury funds. In Kerman he was told bluntly, "Go." By 644 CE, Yazdjurd reached Marv in Khorasan, Persia's far northeast. He still carried imperial treasure and loyalty from 4,000 knights, led by Farrukhzad, brother of the fallen hero Rustam. But Mahaway, Marv's governor, plotted treachery. Secretly he wrote to Nizak Tarkan, a Turkic chieftain, "Yazdjurd is finished. Join me to crush him." When Yazdjurd refused Nizak's demand to marry his daughter, "How dare a slave ask for the emperor's child?" Nizak marched on Marv. At Jalindon, Yazdjurd's knights fought fiercely, pushing back the Turks. Victory neared until Mahaway defected, dragging Marv's soldiers to Nizak's side. Outnumbered, the loyalists fell. Yazdjurd fled alone to Marv's gates. The city he once ruled barred him entry. Exhausted, the 41-year-old king stumbled toward the Murghab River. At a miller's hut he begged for bread. The miller, awed by his jewelled belt, asked if he was man or jinn. When Yazdjurd offered the belt for food, the miller scoffed, "I want 4 dirhams." The emperor laughed bitterly. "I was once told I would lack 4 dirhams." Suspicious, the miller reported his guest to Mahaway. Soldiers came. Yazdjurd pleaded, "Send me to the Arabs. They spare fallen kings." They strangled him with a bowstring, stripped his body and threw it into the Murghab. Persian Christians, honouring his Christian grandmother Shireen, retrieved his corpse, burying him in Marv under a wooden shrine. The Sasanian Empire, born 400 years earlier, died with him. The sword of Islam felled Persia, but its spirit resurrected her. For centuries enemies claimed Islam spread by the sword, yet the truth lay deeper. Muslim envoys always offered peace first. Accept Islam, and armies would withdraw. Unlike other conquerors, they forbade treachery, mutilation, and killing monks or civilians. The jizya tax freed non-Muslims from military service, a choice many rejected, fighting alongside Muslims as equals. Persia, moribund under Sasanian decay, absorbed Islam's vitality. Her intellect, stifled for ages, erupted in Arabic, the language of Avicenna's medicine, al-Khwarizmi's algebra, al-Biruni's astronomy. Persian poets, mystics, and scientists became pillars of Islamic civilization. As a nation, Persia rose again, first under Safavid glory, then the Pahlavi dynasty, eternally marked by beauty. The beauty of Isfahan's silverwork, Shiraz's gardens, and Hamadan's pottery, the beauty of a people whose courage and courtesy outlived empires. The desert's faith had conquered the land of Cyrus, but in yielding, Persia conquered her conqueror, gifting Islam a culture of splendour and the world a lesson. Civilizations do not die, they transform.